In this video I'll be discussing the lore surrounding the Skaven Masterclan. I think that's probably my favorite Skaven clan, and it's likely that it will be the focus of my army. I'm really trying out a few different things. But Masterclan are kind of akin to it's somewhat paradoxical, but they're almost like a secret society that operates in the open. Now, that seems contradictory, but hear me out. So the Masterclan is really composed of the Sorceress Greyseers and the Vermin Lords. And I really want to focus on Greyseers in this video as they are completely unlike other Skaven. The typical hierarchy of Skaven society can be physically distinguished by the color of their fur. So brown fur is normal, black fur is good, and white or gray fur is really the best. So Greyseers have gray fur, and they're the only members of the Masterclan that can utilize sorcery without the assistance of destructive technology as a conduit. They're also distinguished by their curled horns, which is another sign of great authority, as their god is called the Horned Rat. So basically, Greyseers are constantly churning schemes upon schemes, with every word and action devoted to kind of a mirrored mix of unknown desires and goals. And such is their influence that they're kind of almost described in the current lore as being this parasite within the larger Skaven host, something that can make them do something they're not really aware of. So collectively, there are very few Skaven seers within Skaven society, but it's almost like they're this deviant puppet masters, as they are instrumental in cunningly directing lesser swarms of Skavendom to serve their greater devious desires. Now, of course, all Skaven are devious, cunning, and self-serving. That's what makes them great. But Greyseers are the epitome of the Skaven archetype, and other Skaven clans are kind of mere pawns, manipulated to follow their cunning schemes and mad quests for power. So, overtly, Skaven society is led by the Council of the 13, and the council members believe that they are the absolute masters of the Under Empire. The Masterclan kind of enacts the will of the council, and it also has representatives on the council itself. Officially, all the other members of the council claim to have equal or greater influence than members from the Masterclan. But this is exactly what the Masterclan wants the other members of the Council of the 13 to believe. They know it's far easier to convince others to do their bidding if they believe it is in their own interest, and if they believe that they are actually the manipulator rather than the manipulated. As prophets of the Horned Rat, they are always ahead of their rivals and other clans, and it is their duty to enact his will, basically the will of the Horned Rat, at any cost. So therefore, much of the time and schemes and desires of the other members of the council just either coincide with that of the Masterclan, or they too are cunningly directed and manipulated by the Greyseers. It just so happens to be the case that just as often they are just basically either doing the will of the Masterclan very out in the open, or they're somehow being pushed to do so, thinking that they're pursuing their own desires. So this is what I meant by the Masterclan operating essentially as a quasi-secret society that operates in the open. All Skaven know the Masterclan exists, but even the most powerful Skaven are not always aware that they are following the Masterclan's whims. So, following my comparison to puppet masters, Greyseers spend much of their time behind the scenes, within their warrens, where they plot to kind of complex schemes and seek to turn basically every development to their advantage. As is only natural within Skaven society, the Greyseers have this kind of intense rivalry among themselves. And in their own internal power games, they can really undermine these complex plans that they've been making up and may have taken years to develop, or sometimes they just basically purposefully or just accidentally wipe out entire lesser clans of their regular brethren. Whatever it takes to pursue that power. So when they do emerge from their warrens, they are accompanied by a retinue of albino storm vermin, whose loyalty is ensured using either sorcerous or alchemical means. So remember what I discussed earlier about the color of Skaven fur? Well, most storm vermin have black fur. So I actually thought that the albino preference was interesting. And I might have to paint up a small bodyguard unit just to represent that on the battlefield. So when a Grey Seer is actually on the battlefield, they're really capable of unleashing horrific magic, summoning tides of ravenous vermin, or unnatural tempests that ground kind of airborne enemies. They can wield arcane powers capable of ripping open the very earth to envelop their enemies in kind of terrible gases and hot fumes. And if necessary, they can also skitter leap from one part of the battlefield to another. And when they often take to the battlefield, they can be on the foot, but very often they're kind of on top of a screaming bell, which is perhaps the most iconic and dreaded Skaven construction. So, yet despite their arcane prowess and its destructive potential, it is their frenzied intellect that is kind of often the greatest challenge for an adversary. Because when a Grey Seer becomes focused, and they're focused on winning, they will win at any cost. They will stop at nothing, go to any length, and really sacrifice any number of their own warriors to achieve their goal. Overall, I love the lore behind the Grey Seers in the Masterclan. It's just so interesting and unique. At the start of the video, I discussed my plans for a Masterclan army in Age of Sigmar, and I think that's definitely what I want to do. It's very rare to be able to fit 5 or 6 double casters into a single army, and putting aside any notion of cheese, I really like that theme. So I'll be talking a little bit more about that in the future, but looking forward to this. And yeah, just being inspired by these types of stories just makes my own little mind think of little devious schemes that I can do on the battlefield and have these guys represented. And some of them are really good at magic. Thankwol is just an absolute beast in the shooting and close combat phase, potentially. And there's a lot of cool little things you can do with Masterclan. I'll give it some more thought and we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching.